Hi, my name is Mr. Stephen Liloia, and if you're looking for your child's U.S. history course, whether it's a 7th grade U.S. 1 course or an 8th grade U.S. 2 course, and they have me, Mr. Liloia, well, you're in the right spot, or you've clicked on the right link. So I just want to tell you real quick what I'm going to be doing in this brief back-to-school night video. Which is kind of weird for us to say, as we all know we're all in this new normal together. But in this brief video, I will try to deliver all the same content and the same message that would have been delivered anyway, even if we were meeting in person. So some of the things I'm going to go over in this quick, brief video is the curriculum for 7th and 8th grade. So if you have a 7th grade student or an 8th grade student, I'm going to cover the curriculum in this one video as quickly as I can. I will also cover some resources that are really important for you and your child to see success this year in my class. And I'll just talk about some other simple things like grading and also some classroom expectations. So why don't we get started up? All right, so what is it like when your child enters my class? Well, there's a whole bunch of things on the board behind me that they're going to be taking a look at. Number one, they're always going to have a do now or some sort of startup activity. It really could be anything, the startup or do now activity. It could be something as simple as take out your homework from last night. The startup activity could say, create groups of 4. It could have a thought-provoking question maybe about a current event. So the do now or startup activity always occurs, but the content of it always changes every day. Next, after your child views the do now or startup activity that's on the smart board behind me, one of the other things on the whiteboard that they're going to be seeing is the objective and the agenda review for the day. What that means is every day I have an objective on the board, meaning something that I think that we can accomplish in one class period as an entire group. So I go over that goal that I want to accomplish with the kids every day. Sometimes that goal remains the same for 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it changes every day. It just kind of matters with what kind of curriculum or coursework we're taking a look at. The agenda. I put I guess if you want to call it like a classroom agenda on the board every day, but it's a list of things that we're going to do for the day. Because I remember being a student and walking into any class and thinking, well, what are we going to be doing today? Having the agenda posted on the board, I find, relieves some of that anxiety sometimes, or just not even anxiety necessarily, but relieves that question of what am I going to be doing today for the next 30 minutes or 40 minutes, mattering how long the class is. Typically next, if they have homework, if your child had homework, I'll go over the homework after I review the do now, the agenda and all that, and then we begin our work for the day. All right. So student expectations. I don't like to create a long list of rules, rules 1 through 20 on the board behind me. You must follow these rules. But I do have some expectations that I do want to see from the students. Number one, come to class on time. And that's going to be a big one this year, considering we're going to have the shortened periods and the shortened days. So it's important that you're on time and that you're here because every minute counts for sure. Come to class with work completed. If you have the work completed, you're going to be able to move forward. But sometimes we build off of things. So what I'm getting at here is if you don't complete work maybe on a Monday, come Wednesday, you may not be able to do the activity as the student because you didn't do what you needed to do on Monday. So it's important to complete your work. Bring all necessary materials. The materials that I require for my class are that list is very short. It's simply a pen or pencil, a writing utensil, your Chromebook, and a folder. That's really it. I don't require a lot of materials because I like to use or utilize as many apps and programs as I can on the Chromebook in my classroom. Be an active learner and participant. That means when you come into my room as a student, I'm going to expect you to chit-chat. Talk about what's going on in the world. Talk about what we just read about. Because, yes, it is important to be able to do your homework, to study for tests at home and do all those things. But what is also important, too, is to be an active participant. take part in discussion and debate and all those kind of things. And then last but not least, respect each other. I'm going to show every student here as much respect as I humanly possibly can. And I do the same with my colleagues. But without that respect, we may not be able to do fun things like have a debate about the election, which is coming up in a very short period of time, which I'm looking forward to discussing with your children. All right, let's move forward here. So what if you have a child in 7th grade, I'm going to be going over the 7th grade curriculum here about what I'm going to be covering. This is kind of like a US 1 type of curriculum. And in 7th grade, what we really focus on, if you take a look at these bullet points, first are current events. So I certainly cover current events throughout the year with my students. That's typically done on a Friday. So I do like to infuse what's going on in the present and connect it to the past a lot. We move forward and move along here. You can see the next bullet point. The first unit your child's going to be taking a look at is the age of exploration. And that's in a typical year. And I say a typical year because this is an election year, as everyone knows, I'm sure. I don't need to repeat that. And with an election year, before that age of exploration unit, what I am going to do, and I like to do, is a campaign project with the students where they're going to be learning about both candidates this year, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, regarding the election. So that's something that's not on these bullet points because obviously that only happens every 4 years, and my lights turned off. So I need to turn those back on. Excuse me. There we go. Sorry about that. So anyway, and as we move forward, we go from age of exploration to Jamestown to colonial America, and we typically try to end up with introducing the Constitution to your child in 7th grade. If you have an 8th grader, this is what the curriculum is going to kind of look like this year. First, we're going to start off by talking about post 9/11 America. So if you're in 7th grade or you have a 7th grader, yes, of course, we're going to talk about 9/11. We're going to go over that, of course, very early in the year, given the obvious date of the event. But in 8th grade, we take it a little bit further and do kind of a mini unit and connect it to the Constitution. But with my 8th graders, we are also going to be covering the election this year. So some of these things, the units are not necessarily going to change, but maybe the timing of it. And you can see in 8th grade, we typically go through the Constitution all the way up to the Civil War. We do have a project at in the middle of the year, 8th grade. It's called the Presidential Leadership Project. And it's one of my favorite projects that I've ever worked on as a teacher. I love it. I'm not so sure the kids love it. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of research and writing, but it's certainly a very fulfilling project, I think, for both the students and the teachers. And then we typically do also end our year talking about World War II and the Holocaust, which we connect to our DC trip that we have typically taken at the end of the year in 8th grade. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the curriculum for both 7th and 8th grade. Homework. So homework is going to be posted each and every day on my website in the afternoon. Homework is also going to go on the board behind me right back here. So it's posted in the classroom. It'll be posted online. And homework is typically due the next day unless otherwise directed. Homework, I don't assign homework necessarily every single day. I only assign it when I see it necessary, whether it's to move a project along or move an assignment along or whatever it may be. Grading. So this is the big question everyone asks, right? Grading. How is grading going to work? It's really simple. I do an overall points system. So let's say, for example, right here, in one marking period, it's possible for a student to earn 450 points in the marking period, and that student earns 420. All I do is I divide those points, and that student has a 93%. I keep it simple. I don't weight things. So it's very easy for I think both the parents and the students and the teacher to sort of know where they stand with grades using this system. And then my site. My website's it's an incredibly useful tool. So I would imagine that you've taken a quick look at my website already, because that's where this link for this video has been posted. But if you haven't, take a look at my website. It's a really, 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 really great tool. It really is. I post the homework on there. I post resources for research on there. I post all kinds of incredible things. So take your time to look at my website. It's got my email on there, contact info, all of that stuff. And speaking of this, contact info, how should you reach me? The most efficient, easiest way to reach me is through my email, which you can see is listed right here in bold. And just like all Valley View teachers, I will typically get back to you in 24 hours or less, usually less than 24 hours. So that's the easiest way to contact me. If you ever want to talk on the phone, you certainly can. We can certainly arrange that, but email is certainly the best way to reach me. Well, that's the end of my quick little presentation here. I really wish we could have met in person this year, but as we all know, with this new normal, that wasn't going to be quite possible for us. But I hope this video served you well, and I hope it gave you some quick info about the class. And if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Thank you, and have an awesome week. Signing off, Mr. Liloia.